This is Optimal Health Daily, episode 638. The Diet and Training Combination, Figuring Out How You're Messing It Up. Part 1 by Deen of JCDFitness.com. And I'm your host and narrator, Dr. Neil. Happy first day of Kwanzaa and Boxing Day for our neighbors up north. Welcome back to Optimal Health Daily, where I read some of the best health and fitness blogs to you, usually with a little bit of commentary at the end. Now, today's post is a bit on the longer side, so I'll read the first half today and then finish it up tomorrow. So while I'm no longer doing holiday trivia since Christmas Day is now behind us, I thought we might be due for an inspirational quote, especially if those post-holiday blues are starting to set in. So here's today's inspirational quote. If we surround ourselves with those who support, motivate, and challenge us, we can reach greater heights than we could have alone. Brad Stuhlberg and Steve Magnus, authors of the book Peak Performance. Now, before I get to today's post, don't forget I answer your questions every Friday, and you can send one in at oldpodcast.com. If you do, you'll be entered into small special raffles to win books from us. But for now, let's get right to it and start optimizing your life. The Diet and Training Combination, Figuring Out How You're Messing It Up. Part 1 by Deen of JCDFitness.com. You hit the gym 3 or 4 or 5 days per week. You've been tracking your meals and watching portions. You're even starting to think about your rest and recovery habits as a part of this whole process of improving your aesthetics. It's the first week of February. You could be on your newly formed resolution to get fit, finally, or you might be on the continual course of self-improvement. Regardless of whether or not you've been at these changes for only the past 4 weeks or 4 months, you might not be seeing the results you'd hoped for. This is understandable. Most of us are impatient and want everything yesterday. And it doesn't help that the media is shoving unrealistic images and catchy phrases down our throats every second. In fact, here's one crazy statement I saw in the supermarket. Enjoy holiday cookies, cakes, and lose. Turn carbs into fat burners. Drop 9 pounds every week. News from UCLA. Plant extract transforms carbs into fibers that draws out fat and toxins. These are just one of the many messages we see constantly, and it's not serving us. Today, I'm going to help you understand just where you might be messing up, even if you're supposedly doing all the right things. I'll be acting as your course corrector, so to speak. Physique transformation is a matter of putting the pieces together in a manner that makes sense. All variables complement each other. The training is what forces the body to adapt and change itself. Your training also tells your body what to do with the food. Your food intake and macronutrient composition help determine whether you lose fat or maintain your body fat levels. The types of food determine how you function and operate. For example, you need a good balance of protein, carbohydrate, and fat to ensure many things, such as repair and rebuilding of lean tissue. You get enough energy to fuel your sessions. Going low carb is almost always a bad idea here. Allowing for a proper intake of micronutrients which support your bones, muscles, hormones, and other essential bodily functions. The way you relax and rest determines your ability to recover, and thusly binds your training and nutrition efforts. And lastly, the way you make all this fit together, like planning and discipline, is what makes it all work in the longer term. And that's what guarantees your results, because let's face it, time is going to pass anyway. So why not do what you must to get the results you want sooner rather than later? So let's dive in on how you just might be messing up one or more of the 4 ideas you just heard. 1. Nutritional tracking and accountability. The way one plans their nutrition is highly personal, and you should take into account the psychological needs of the individual. On a personal level, I can stick to just about any type of plan. I'm relatively indifferent, but some of my clients and readers, they're a different story. Some prefer to operate on relative extremes when it comes to their diets. I have many folks carb cycling based on their training focus. Others prefer to eat light throughout the week and consume a truckload of food on the weekends. How you achieve the negative calorie balance, if your goal is fat loss, within reason of course, is mostly irrelevant as long as you're adhering to the main principles, like getting enough nutrients to support your work and life demands. I'm not advocating extreme cases of daily or weekly fasting or any highly variable binge or starve cycles where you end up famished and weak. So, where do people tend to mess up? Hear that on tomorrow's episode. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled The Diet and Training Combination, Figuring Out How You're Messing It Up by Deen of JCDFitness.com. Dr. Neal again here for my commentary. It's true that many of us can really get into the weeds when it comes to trying to reach our goals. What I mean by that is we get so into tracking every little thing and making sure that we're taking that one step closer every single time we work out or every single time we eat a meal that we lose sight of the whole point. Remember, we want to live a happy, healthy, overall well life. But the problem is when we get too far into the weeds and get way too deep into those details, are we really living? Are you really enjoying your food? Are you enjoying your exercise? Or are you just thinking about the next workout or the next meal? Well, then you're not being in the moment. You're not feeling grateful for what you do have and the health you're experiencing now. And as JC mentioned, finding, let's say, a meal plan that suits you, that meets your lifestyle goals, that's overall fairly nutritious, that's what really matters. Patients have often told me, just tell me what to eat and I'll eat it. And I tell them, no, you'll just resent me. And so if you're following, let's say, a diet that somebody told you to try or you saw in a magazine, you're probably going to end up stopping that diet, especially if it's not something that you really enjoy at all. If you're not enjoying the foods you're eating, then are you really living? All right, before I go, like I mentioned at the top of the show, I answer your questions right here on the podcast every Friday in special Q&A episodes. You can ask me anything related to diet and nutrition, stress management, exercise, and more. Just call and leave a message with your question. The phone number is 61 I love OHD. Or you can send in an audio question at oldpodcast.com/ask. That's more friendly if you want to do multiple takes and hear yourself before sending it in. And by the way, if you send me a question, first, it makes me happy, but as a bonus to you, you're entered into special raffles to win books every month. And the next giveaway is less than a week away. So now's a great time to send me a question. All right, that does it for today's episode. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a very happy Kwanzaa if you're celebrating, and a very happy Boxing Day. And I'll be back here tomorrow where we'll finish up this post and where your optimal life awaits.